In late spring 2025, Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb was named to a newly formed UAP Science Advisory Council operating under White House auspices. The council's mandate: apply rigorous scientific methodology to unclassified government UAP data, including a formal request for more than 50 Pentagon videos, images, and documents tied to incidents that remain officially unresolved. For the first time, an institutional scientist with mainstream credibility was being handed a direct pipeline to Defense Department evidence. The question nobody in Washington seems willing to answer clearly is whether this council has the authority to compel disclosure or merely to advise. Avi Loeb is not new to controversy. As chair of Harvard's astronomy department, he argued publicly that the interstellar object Oumuamua, detected in 2017, displayed anomalous acceleration consistent with artificial origin. He launched the Galileo Project in 2021 to build a systematic, instrument-based observation network for UAP. In 2023, he led an ocean expedition off Papua New Guinea to recover materials he claims originated from an interstellar meteor, catalogued as IM-1. Critics, including some within his own department, have challenged his conclusions, but Loeb's central argument has remained consistent: follow the data, publish the results, let peer review arbitrate. That framework is now being applied to government-held evidence. The council reportedly emerged from discussions between the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy and elements within the Department of Defense. Its stated purpose is to evaluate unclassified UAP data using open scientific standards. The formal request for over 50 items of Pentagon-held evidence, videos, still imagery, sensor data, and incident reports, represents a concrete deliverable, not an abstract mandate. But critical ambiguity remains. According to available reporting, the council operates in an advisory capacity. It can request, it cannot subpoena. It can analyze what it receives. It cannot compel the release of classified material. That distinction matters enormously. Loeb has been explicit about his analytical hierarchy. Conventional explanations come first: sensor artifacts, weather phenomena, known aircraft. Next, adversary technology. Only after those possibilities are rigorously excluded does the framework move toward unknown natural phenomena, or ultimately, non-human intelligence. This is standard scientific methodology. It is also, by design, conservative. Loeb told interviewers in early 2025 that the goal is not to confirm anyone's preferred narrative, but to establish what the evidence actually supports. Science is not about belief, he stated. It's about evidence. That approach will satisfy methodologists. It will frustrate those who believe the government already possesses conclusive proof of non-human origin. One area where Loeb brings unique credibility is material science.
His Pacific expedition recovered hundreds of metallic spherules from the ocean floor near IM-1's calculated impact zone. His team published findings in peer-reviewed venues claiming anomalous compositions, specifically a combination of beryllium, lanthanum, and uranium isotopic ratios that Loeb argues are inconsistent with known solar system origins. Other researchers have disputed these conclusions, suggesting contamination or terrestrial industrial sources. If the Pentagon holds recovered materials from UAP incidents, as whistleblower David Grusch alleged under oath in July 2023, Loeb's established protocols for compositional analysis could provide a credible, independent evaluation framework. That is a significant if. Here is where the fault line becomes visible. Former intelligence officer Luis Elizondo, in his 2024 book Imminent and subsequent interviews, described personal encounters involving luminous orbs and referenced alleged anomalous structures, including what he characterized as a monolith-like object on the moon. These claims fall squarely into what researchers call high-strangeness territory, phenomena that resist conventional physical explanation. Loeb's framework is structurally incompatible with these narratives, not because he dismisses them outright, but because his methodology requires reproducible, instrument-verified data before any conclusion is drawn. Elizondo's accounts are testimonial. Loeb's standard is empirical. Both men want disclosure. They disagree fundamentally on what constitutes evidence. This council does not exist in a vacuum. Since 2022, Congress has steadily escalated its UAP oversight. The Schumer-Rounds UAP Disclosure Act, though weakened before passage, established the principle that UAP records deserve structured review. The House Oversight Committee's July 2023 hearing, featuring Grusch, Commander David Fravor, and Ryan Graves, put first-hand testimony into the congressional record. AARO, the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, published 2 volumes of its historical review, concluding it found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, a conclusion multiple witnesses and some legislators publicly rejected. Loeb's counsel enters a landscape where trust between Congress, the Pentagon, and the public is deeply fractured. Not everyone sees this as progress. Skeptics within the scientific establishment question whether advisory bodies without enforcement power accomplish anything beyond legitimizing a topic that lacks, in their view, sufficient evidence to warrant institutional attention. Others raise a harder concern, that a council restricted to unclassified data is structurally prevented from reaching meaningful conclusions about incidents that may involve classified sensor systems or special access programs.
If the most compelling evidence sits behind classification barriers the council cannot penetrate, the entire exercise risks producing a report that confirms the mundane and leaves the extraordinary untouched. Managed disclosure, critics argue, is not the same as actual disclosure. The next 12 months will determine whether this council becomes a genuine inflection point or a footnote. If the Pentagon delivers the requested 50-plus items of evidence in unredacted form, and if Loeb's team publishes its analysis through peer-reviewed channels, it will mark the first time government-held UAP data has been subjected to open, independent scientific scrutiny. That alone would be unprecedented. But the operative word remains, if. The history of this subject is littered with promising mechanisms that produced classified reports, redacted findings, and institutional silence. Avi Loeb has staked his reputation on the proposition that scientific transparency can break that pattern. The evidence, as he would say, will decide.